I need a bad girl to make my homie lose his cool. I need a bad girl who love listen to the bad Ice Cube. I need a bad girl to make me wanna break the roof. I need a bad girl, boom chicka wow wow, sex on my roof.
Hi guys, it is Miss Polly. So today, I've been working on some material that I wanted to talk about, some questions that we brought up. So what I did was I decided to dual stream on tag. So I am below is tag here. I'm not going to open a box so someone can interact with me right this minute, but I am on tag below, and up top here I'm going to go ahead and add this to my YouTube channel. So if you're interested in getting some more information, check out Miss Polly Wright on YouTube. If you already seen this video, you're already here, so subscribe, and thanks for being here to find out more information about Polly and kind of clearing up any information that you may have. So this is one of the reasons why I dual stream, so I can be more productive and making sure that I'm uploading videos consistently, and I can also talk to people who would like to come ask questions and things like that. But today, one of the topics that came up that was really popular question for ladies is, am I a hoe if I decide to be poly? That is a really big one. So people might think, well, that doesn't sound right. But I will tell you, as a person who is practicing polyandry, which is most of the time being a woman with multiple male partners, it can be an issue that I can see for some people, especially knowing that when you are labeled or called a hoe, it's because, and I'm not saying that men can't be called hoe, but when women are called hoes, it's really something that sticks with you, and it's hard to lose that. I'm not talking about regular name calling, but if you're known in your area, your neighborhood, as a woman who just kind of been thrown around or talks to multiple men and is not in any real consistent relationship with anyone, that is something to get really upset about, because it's hard to get rid of that name. And then when you're with someone, they have to actually be really, okay with someone thinking that you are promiscuous or whatnot. So that is an issue. And if you are a woman trying to become polyandry, you really need to have some tough skin, because no matter what, you're going to hear stuff regardless of what you do with your life. But it is an issue to come up. I will tell you, I think a lot of women who enter poly, they enter poly thinking that, okay, I am heterosexual, but I'm okay, I could hang out with some girls and maybe I'd be okay if he messes around with them. And the reason I think they think it's okay is because then they're not called a hoe. If a woman gets with a man, good morning, Ben, and she decides to allow him to have another partner that's a female, or she has a partner that's a female, then she no longer is considered a hoe. But if she was another male partner she wanted, she would be considered promiscuous and looked down upon. It is something that can happen. Hopefully people that you're around, they're open-minded to the fact that anybody can be a hoe. You don't have to just be a hoe because it's more than one guy and you're a woman. There's men out here that are hoes and they just like to have a lot of fun. But I don't think that calling someone a hoe because they would like to be poly should deter you from trying poly. If you're a woman, you're interested and you're heterosexual. But I do see why it could be an issue. A way I would say to combat with that would be first, really find out what you want, okay? Because you're gonna have to answer lots of questions being poly, point blank. You're gonna be asked lots of questions, questions that if you are prude or you feel like men should ask you certain questions, you're gonna have a problem. Hey guys down there, I am dual streaming, so I'm also doing a video, so I can read your comments and stuff. Hey, but yeah, if you want to be polyandry and you want to have more than one male partner, you gotta have to toughen up, because if you come to a male who's not poly, and even if they are poly, a lot of poly men do not believe in a woman having more than one partner that is a male, and they call it a one dick policy. That basically means there could be only one male partner, and you can have more than one woman partner, but you cannot have more than one male partner. So this is something that, you know, you need to discuss or find out about people that you're talking to. But have a little tough skin. These men are going to ask you questions. Like I said, if you're a little prude and you're a little nervous, find out the answers for the questions. Just straight up, find out the answers for questions. I've been asked all kinds of good questions, but I'm okay with answering questions. That doesn't bother me, because I think educating people is the best way for them to find out if it's something they would like to do. So questions don't really offend me unless the intent behind it is just someone being a jerk or hurtful. So other than that, I'm not really bothered. Thank you for that. So one of the questions that I often get asked is, do we all have to do stuff together? That is a choice that you can make. If you're dating heterosexual men, they're probably not going to want to be with you in the room with your other male partners that you actually have a mental connection with. They may feel very uncomfortable with that, especially a lot of poly people who have been introduced to it have heard about anarchy poly, which is basically you give them numbers or assignments of who's first, second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever. I don't believe in that, but if they want to, you know, hey, listen, let them do what makes them happy. If they would like to know that, hey, I feel like I'm the primary partner, that's fine. Some people believe their primary partner is the partner that lives in the house with them. That could be true. That could not be true. So you guys establish that at first of what you like to do. If that is true, your partner will probably not like to be in a sexual situation with the other male partner. For lots of reasons. I think a lot of good stuff goes through their minds is, you know, oh, is he better at pleasing her? Does, you know, really a big one is the kind of sex you have. If you have a partner who is more take charge in the bed and they like to tie you up and all that, and your other partner is really not into those kind of things, that could be something that if you were all together, maybe it could be a little strange, you know. So that is something that could happen with male partners. That is something that could be a little tricky. So the conversation needs to be really open, and people need to feel very comfortable with each other. If you are interested in having a situation like that, it needs to be everyone included in that conversation, because there's going to be things and concerns, and I find it best to do individual conversations and together conversations, because it's gonna be important for you to do that. Let me just read this down here though. But Ben down here said, but you never have interaction at the same time sexually. I mean, there are partners who don't. And that doesn't matter if you're a woman with two male partners or a male partner with two women partners. Some women don't like to see their partner with other partners. So you have to, you know, sexually. And that is a comfortability issue. Some partners, you know, if you're at a dinner and you're holding one partner's hand and not the other one, some people, if they're transitioning, can really feel left out, or okay, well, why do they hold their hand so much? And see, that's where a lot of times comparing your relationship to someone else's while you're dating, when they're dating more than one person, can be an issue, because if your mind is monogamous and you see your partner giving affection to another partner, it could bother you. Now, this is the thing though. Some partners don't need the same amount of physical touch as others. So just because my partner is huggy and lovey with that partner does not mean, since they're not with me, that they like me less. There's partners who don't like to be touched that much because their love language is not that. And they don't need it. And I think what happens when the outside people come in and say, well, he's always on top of her and he like barely touches the other one. Maybe the other woman doesn't like to be touched like that, or she doesn't need so much public affection. So there could be those things. Or for males, you may have, a partner when they're all together, it makes them feel comfortable with a lot of contact. Watching a partner have a lot of contact, and they watch and see how they react. Oh, when he touches you like that, I think it can bring up concerns. So there may be a hesitation. So those are things you can work out by having a lot more conversations and asking those questions. I think the fear of asking questions is really what gets us stuck, because when you're, one of the big things about being poly is that there has to be a lot more communication. And what I mean by that is, if your partner does something you don't like, a lot of times if you're monogamous, you can just say, okay, we'll work on it. And you kind of leave it where it's at. That's not really a good idea, especially if it's a transitioning partner who has struggled with people cheating on them, or struggle with people abandoning them and things like that. Because if you act a different way towards a different partner, it's confusing for them to separate the fact that that's a different person, and their interaction will be different than my interaction. And I will give a good example of that. One of my partners is very sarcastic. I like it. I find it funny. But then my other partner is very protective. So sometimes I think that when he makes a funny comment to me, or just teasing me, my other partner, he doesn't say too much, but I think sometimes it makes him feel like, oh, I don't know, like but he doesn't. It's. I think he just reminds himself like, oh, maybe that's just the way they interact, and so that's okay. But I think the initial, when we first all started kind of interacting together, and you hearing different interactions, that was something that was like, oh, okay, that's different. I've been with another partner where, he was, like I said, one's very sarcastic, and then the other one, he would be, I'm not with this person anymore, but he a couple times would get, when he got upset, he would be, could say some ugly things, and publicly, and I would be like, whoa, dude. And I've, obviously those were signs of bad things, but when he did something like that, I was like, what the heck? And my partner was like, and it's weird because you kind of have to allow your partner to manage that relationship that they have with another person to some degree, depending on your dynamic. I'm talking about mine specifically, because since mine aren't a full triangle, which is that we're all together in the aspects of physically and mentally, if I do something with one partner, we're not all connected in that manner where that conversation happens. So there has to be a little bit of space until you get to that point. So if that partner is going through something, you have to allow them to go through that situation. And it's hard to sit back as someone you care about to watch them go through a tough time with a different partner and not want to feel like you're crossing boundaries. Because this is why I say crossing boundaries, because your connection to your partner's partner is not the same. And if you really going to be honest with yourself, if it's like someone you care about, like your sister, and she has a boyfriend, and you love your sister, and you know that they have a boyfriend, but if their boyfriend says something ugly to them, you may be like, oh, I'll get rid of them. And then they might be like, yeah, he's so wrong. And then 2 days later, she's like, it's okay. He just had a moment and they're fine. But you still keep harbor I don't like that. I don't like what you did. And that happens with families and people you're close to. That's why they always say, if something is going on in your house, sometimes you make sure it's the real deal before you bring it to the family, because they are not as forgiving as you are to your partner because they don't have the same connection. My other partners don't have the same mental connection and understanding of my other partners because of the way I poly to be as forgiving as I would be if something went wrong. Because we all have bad moments, and if you're even monogamous, your partner does something to upset you, you can be forgiving and move forth and grow from that. But other people will see it as, okay, I really don't like them still, and I don't understand why they're with them, because they don't have the same connection that you may have. I'm not saying that you should still let people abuse you and treat you bad because you have a connection with them. I'm saying that you may be more understanding to who they are. If your partner deals with a lot of anxiety and you did something that really, freaked them out, you may be more understanding to that situation and talk about what you guys can do through the process to make that better, and you can move forward from that. But other partners may not be as understanding because they're different. So these are some of the things you want to kind of keep in mind when you're doing it. So yeah, for women though, I think they should really have tough skin. There's going to be a lot of questions asked. Be open to the questions. A lot of times when you decide that you would like to be polyandry, or if you would like to have more than one male partner, I think a big thing is kind of preparing yourself for questions if you want to become public. And then the next part is being okay with your choice. It really is about you're comfortable with what you're doing and who you're doing it with. Because I think one of the worst things is for one of your partners to feel like you are ashamed of them and you do not want to represent them. Because even if you're monogamous, you don't want to feel like you're invisible. You don't want to feel like they're ashamed of you or not acknowledged. If I have one of my partners and I go out and I see a different one, I'm going to acknowledge that I see them. I'm going to talk to them, speak to them, hug them, give them a kiss or whatever, because I want them to know no matter what I am doing, you are not a secret. You are my partner, and that doesn't matter where we are to that degree. If you are in hiding and you just kind of want to try this out, see how it goes, I mean, yeah, you can do that. A lot of people date outside of the area they live in. I'm in a state in the Midwest where that is a big issue. It's a very conservative place, and so a lot of people don't want other people to know what they're doing or who they're talking to, and it's a big issue for them to be out about what they are doing. And so I think if you educate yourself and you prepare yourself for these questions, prepare yourself for what people might ask you, what people might say, it would really help you when you're deciding to do that. And I don't want women to feel embarrassed or ashamed of loving more than one person. And I'll tell you, women are the most loving creatures there are. So it would even seem more natural for you to be able to care for more than one person. And I don't think that's unusual. So I definitely think women transitioning should try it and see if that's something they want to do. And then we could talk about, like I said, one of the next videos I'm going to do is kind of talking about opening up that process of starting to date. And like I said, I started the life coaching business. So if anyone is interested in getting assistance, I will be able to provide assistance and go through a little, program to get you started. And then we can go, even talk about individual building for yourself so then you can be prepared to take on multiple partners, because transitioning can be very difficult and confusing because it is different. The processes are different. Being able to interact with your partners, understanding your partners, separating and incorporating, combining partners. This can be something that could turn very stressful for someone who's so used to doing it a certain way. If you're a little bit older, but probably 30 up, it would be a little bit out of your normal realm. Younger people are more easy, flexible. They're like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. So that transition is a little bit changing of your mind, changing of how you think, not changing who you are as a person. And hopefully this is the process that would make you a better person, better communication, knowing yourself, knowing what you want, what you need. And so even if you decide to still be monogamous at some point, you still have those things you've learned about yourself and learned about other people, and you can move on. One of the biggest things I think we learn about ourselves from having multiple partners is the fact that when you do something and you don't know it, your partner might be like, oh, they do this all the time. You be like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. If you have 2 or 3 people tell you you're doing something and it's not cool, the proof is there. If one person says it, if 2 or 3 people are saying it, you probably are needing to make some changes. So I think that was the biggest shock for me, is that, okay, I asked, like, do I do certain things? I did a lot of question asking because I want to make sure that my partners are secure with the transition, especially since I date heterosexual Black males. So my transition for those kind of situations are a little bit different than the average. I'm trying to be a polygamist and I'm just adding another woman. Women are more open to the process, all those things. Interracial polygamy, all these things, are things that we would talk about, see if that's something you want to do, and making sure each step of the process is pretty smooth. And then once you get it, I think it just becomes normal. I don't think people say, oh, it seems so complex, and I've said multiple times, it's only complex because you're asking me to explain everything. If someone was to ask you to explain everything in monogamy, it would sound just the same as I'm talking to you about poly, because there are lots of levels to being monogamous, unspoken rules about being monogamous. There are so many layers to being monogamous, but since everyone around you mostly lives that way, it's not unusual, and you don't really question things that you're told. Oh, you shouldn't have your friend's boyfriend's phone number in your phone, because that just makes sense. Does it make sense? Like, what if I know him and he's a friend of mine? So there's unspoken rules about certain things. Men, when you're out with your girlfriend, you're not supposed to look at other women. That's an unspoken rule. Oh, well, it's just respectful. You should just know that. Why should I know that? It's because it's an unspoken rule. Things like that. So same thing with poly, like is there an issue or their boundaries, rules. I think what happens is, instead of in monogamy where if you do something wrong, you just get a reaction, and then sometimes you're left with just the reaction. Okay, well, I don't want that reaction anymore. I'm not going to do that anymore. But if you're at poly, it's more of, I do sometimes like to look at ladies. They look nice when they, walk by. I just want you to know I do that if that's an issue for you. And it's already done. You've already said it. And so when it happens and then they're fine or not fine, you're already ahead of the game. So I actually think poly can make a relationship a lot stronger, even if you decide to become monogamous later. But just having that, in your mind, that you can have those conversations, be more open with your partners, makes a big difference in how your relationships will go in your life, and even with people you meet. Because I think people think, oh, poly, you have to be sexual. There are platonic partners in poly, and not everything's sexual. So, like I said, being able to deal with people, learning how to understand people and communicate effectively is really going to be helpful. And I think that more women should not feel shamed to have more than one male partner. because we're people. And, and I don't think anything is wrong with that, because if a man does it, it really wouldn't be that big a deal. And I think men have a little bit of ways to be able to do a lot more things than women. And when we're combating that, being able to convey with your information, and being calm when you're giving out the information and telling people how you feel, hey, it's not about that. And when someone says something nasty to you, having the information is just the first step to being able to combat with that. So I hope women will look into poly and not be ashamed of that. And really, like I said, the first step to that is really just getting more information for yourself on what you like, so then that you can go and answer those questions. Well, what happens, like I said, there's some crazy questions, and I'll bring up a little video on that. There was some crazy questions I've been asked. I actually don't think I don't think any question's crazy if I have an answer, because if you don't know, it can't be crazy. You just need information. So I won't, like I said, I don't want to make my video too long, but I definitely wanted to reach out for all ladies, and I'll send out some more information kind of about that transition process for women who want to date heterosexual, or that are heterosexual and want to date heterosexual. Or, I've even met women who are heterosexual who are okay with their men being bisexual. There's other options. I just wanted to throw that out there. So, like I said, being open to that as a woman can be a little scary, but you can do it. And if you guys need assistance in that, like I said, you guys can hit me up. Go ahead and comment below, like this video, subscribe to it, and we'll go ahead and put some more content up for you ladies, and hopefully you can start the process and you guys will have a great experience and really learn from it. So I appreciate you guys for taking the time today, and I'll see you another time. Bye.